Report.
All right, guys, are you ready to learn about chocolate?
Yes.
Excellent. We're have very high fattening things today. I like to start it out and say, people think that music is the international language, but here in Mount Vernon, no. We found out that it's really chocolate. Gail developed this program about 4 years ago. We were all a little skeptical, but as soon as we're out in a tent, out in front of the house there, as soon as we start roasting the beans and these smells start coming out, like a magnet. It's like George Washington, we don't care about the house, we want to come learn about chocolate. So this is a great way to get kids, people always like food, a great way to try and get a little interest going with chocolate and this 18th century chocolate anyway. It's a long process, but as you heard her say, it's all worth it in the long run. Chocolate originated a couple thousand years ago down in South America, Central America. The Aztec Indians are the ones who come up with the whole process of it. And it was actually Christopher Columbus, we're pretty sure, that brought the first cacao beans back to Spain on one of his West Indies voyages. Didn't really know what he had. It just kind of languished for a long time, and it really wasn't a couple hundred years later, with more explorers going back and forth and figuring out what are they doing with these beans, that it exploded. Now, in the 18th century, most of the chocolate drinking is going on in America, and very few is going. Little of it is going on in England. I'm sure this will shock you, but England was taxing chocolate to its own citizens, and only the very wealthy and the royals could drink that chocolate. Over in America, we are not taxing it, so there's lots of chocolate houses there. So we see it more of a popular drink in America than in England. Now, it's a long road, as I said. So let's start at the very, very beginning. The cacao tree only grows in a very small area within 10 degrees north and south of the equator. It's always grown, it's a very small tree, and it grows under the canopy of the rainforest, all right? And every 6 months, these thousands of these little tiny flowers that you see here, that picture is deceptive. It's really only the size of the end of your finger. They cover the whole trunk of the tree, not the ends of the branches, like it does, like our pears and apples and that. There's basically a 24-hour window for these flowers to be fermented, and only less than 10% actually do get fermented by these little insects that abound down in the tropics. 6 months later, they're going to look like this. So here's some that are unripe. 6 months later, here you see them ready to be picked. Now this will kind of give you an idea of the size of one. This, of course, is not ripe. We want that deep chocolate brown. And what they're going to do, once they're ripe, is get to the pulp. All right? And this is what our fakefood.com sent us. It's not accurate. And what they're going to do is they're going to scrape all of this out. But all of this actually looks like this. All right? So these cacao beans in here are covered with this white, viscous, slimy material. That's the fruit. All right? What we want in the cacao pod actually is the seeds. All right? Normally we want the fruit and let's get rid of those seeds. In this case, we want just the opposite. So they're going to scoop all of these out and begin the process of turning it into chocolate. Now, first of all, they're going to spread the cacao fruit on the floor of the rainforest, and they're going to put them on banana leaves, spread them out, put another layer on them, and then leave them there for 10 days, 2 weeks. Again, this is always very, different with each batch. And there's fermentation is going to take place. So this is a chemical process. It's critical to the whole chocolate flavor being developed at that point. Lots of things going on with the heat and the humidity there. After they determine it's fermented enough, they're going to pull them out and then put them on drying racks out there. These are big, big things of burlap, and they're going to again let it dry. All right, so it's fermented. Now we need it to dry out enough so that it can be put into bags and shipped, transported. Yes.
Is there any place in the U.S. that grows
cacao? It's only just this little. So most of the chocolate today is grown in Africa. And that's where, in the 18th century, though, the cacao tree the beans were purchased from Venezuela and Honduras and Central America. And today, that's still where the Swiss chocolatiers and the Belgian chocolate, the really high end, still get their chocolate beans from them. Less expensive are the ones from Africa. All right, so now we've got these guys drying. They have to dry out enough, as I said, to transport in bags, and then they're going to be shipped. All right. Now, I mentioned before that there's not very much chocolate drinking going on in England, but lots going on in America due to taxes. But didn't England tax us on everything? They did, and so our ingenious and little pirateers, if we'll call them, in the Americans would go down and intercept, by plan I would add, the ships heading up toward England, transfer the cacao beans onto their own ships and head off to Boston and Rhode Island. No taxes, and the masses enjoyed their chocolate. These chocolate mills were found up in New England, and a lot of people had converted their grain mills to this and to developing this drink. And it really needs to be done in a cool climate. Here in the South, if they did it on the large plantations, it's going to be done by slave labor. All right, so in the North, they're going to use the mills. In the South, it's a great thing for the slaves to do during the winter months when all the fields are lying unplanted. So the next step in the process, we're going to take this as if we're doing it at Mount Vernon. All right. We do know that George Washington, just a few months before he died, did purchase 50 pounds of these cacao beans. We also know that on other occasions he had ordered the refined chocolate as well. So both ways. But we're going to say this is how it would be done here in small batches at Mount Vernon. Once the beans got here, they would need to be roasted, all right? We're going to get every single drop of liquid out, and we're going to really toast the outer covering here, which is now just a film covering the bean. So I want everybody to come up, grab a couple beans. Your little manual labor needed this morning to help. What you want to do is try to get the bean out, all right? So what you're seeing here below me, this is all that is left of this white covering inside the bean, all right? And then we're going to just put them in here for me. And now the roasting is just like coffee. If you have a light roast, dark roast, and medium roast, we always try for the medium roast, but we get talking and tend to forget. So if the bean comes out whole, we did a pretty good job. If it falls apart, they're over roasted, and if it won't come off at all, it's under roasted. So that's perfect. Yeah. We go ahead and dump them in there. I know this is addicting. You can sit here and do this all day. It's very fun. Yep, but that's okay. We're not going to throw it in there. Yep, throw it in here. All right, now the next step in this long process is we have to pulverize it a little bit. All right, we don't want cocoa powder. We just need to break it down into what is called nibs here. All right, and here again, ladies, we need some manual labor. If you could start pounding. This is the mortar and pestle. You may have that in your kitchen. Sure. Now these shells also, remember in the 18th century, they are not going to throw anything away. Nothing goes to waste, right? And so what they would do is steep these in hot water and make a tea out of them. Somebody tried it. I haven't tried it myself. I thought that would be good. Yeah, I don't think so. It's kind of interesting, but and our big chocolate makers today, Mars and Hershey, still don't throw this stuff away. They will bag it up and sell it to high-end garden centers as mulch. And you have to be careful. A couple of the ladies in the other group said that they had it and it mildewed or got mold or something on it. You have to keep turning it under, and also not safe if you have dogs. But it's a very pretty color, as you can see. All right, everybody get everything shelled for me there? Okay, we're going to move on down to the next step.
That smells good now.
Yeah, we're getting there, huh? All right. Now, yeah, so we now have the nibs, all right? We've ground them down a little bit. And the next step is to liquefy them. That cacao bean is 50% chocolate solids and 50% cocoa butter. And what we want to do is liquefy that. And we're going to do that by applying a heat and friction. All right, so I've got some heat underneath here, not 18th century heat. Right. And we then are going to apply friction in the form of the metate, all right, and a mano here. And a metate is something found in from South America, how they would have done it. And it's made out of lava, very rough. Yes.
I didn't understand
Yes.
how it got from that to